Your program is undefeated, a perfect 17-0, nationally ranked. Are they playing their best soccer right now?
You know what? We're getting there. We're getting there. We're still trying to fix some small little things that we've noticed throughout the games. We've introduced a new left and right back that we're kind of playing with a little more ball control. The other two guys are just amazing, and so we're just kind of getting a feel for hey, what's going to give us a little more firepower going forward.
How much do you and the players talk about that national ranking?
We don't give it a whole lot of thought, to be honest with you. It's one of the things that, I think it may come out in the newspaper, it may come out on Facebook, but for the most part, we just, we talk about, um, and not to sound arrogant, but one of the things we discussed when I first came over, I said, get used to that kind of atmosphere, because that is the expectation. The expectation is to be at that top level, right? And making sure that we compete with whomever it is in the state. And you know as well as I do, up north. I mean, you've got some very gifted athletes up there, but we've always said over the years, look a little to the southeast. I promise you, we've got a plethora of athletes down here that can go toe to toe.
Well, one of your athletes, Josh Chavez, one of the top 5 scorers in the state, what does he do well and who has been complimenting him well?
He's an unbelievable young man, one of the nicest human beings. And you know what? The kid comes in with a great work ethic. His leadership on the field is unbelievable. And just to add to it, initially when I came in last year, he played in a one striker system. And so he was the only striker over the top. And I thought that's not the system I play. I tend to look at, what do we have in reserve? What do we have on the bench? What does it look like? And all of a sudden we're looking at several athletes that can play over the top. And so it took him a little while to kind of get going, and he found himself on the bench a couple of times. And instead of throwing temper tantrums, instead of getting frustrated like many do, he went right back to work. And from there we benefited because now he's distributing the ball. He's able to complement well, like you say, with Ferrufino. Franklin, unbelievable up there. And then it just depends on what the game is giving us. So we can go everywhere from Camacho over the top, Juan Camacho, or we can go with Amari, Patton, and it just depends on what the game calls for. And so those are the changes that we're doing. But Ferrufino and Josh, unbelievable, both of those individuals.
You led Lovington to their first ever boys state soccer championship last year. Why leave Lovington for this job?
I was actually thinking about retiring, to be honest with you. That was the plan. I wanted to chase my daughter around. My son graduating, going off to Oklahoma State. I thought, this is the right move for me. This is the right move. It's time for her. It's time for her. And lo and behold, you know, administrators call from Hobbs, and man, I am tickled pink. I'll tell you what, the support that we get here, it's unbelievable. Some of the programs, I mean, and the culture, it's a different culture. You know what? Not that I didn't enjoy where I was, I did, but now I'm renewed and I'm really enjoying myself. So, some of the things that I stepped into when I came in was, they're pushing real hard the gold standard, and I thought, you know what? Yeah, this is good, because we want the character of the young men to be, first and foremost, we want to make sure that they're accountable, right? And so we want to raise up to that level. Another one tonight, for example, we're going to go support our Eagles supporting Eagles, and it is the girls volleyball program. And so, all of our boys will be up there in the stands. If you've seen any of, a lot of people saw the Instagram shared from Hobbs when we played against La Cueva. And man, we had basketball there. You had football there. You had girls, but you've got everyone coming out. And they really take it to heart when they say, hey, Eagles are going to support Eagles. They do it right.
You've only given up 14 goals in 17 games, and your team has scored 63. Is this an offensive team or a defensive squad?
It's real deceiving. There are times in the game, to be honest with you, where you know it may take us 20 or 30 minutes to go find a goal in the first half. And so our defense does a great job of holding everybody out and saying, hey, be patient, offense. It's going to come around. And once it does, it's like a dam breaking. It just, You know, and that's one of the things that I've always tried to do is introduce as many strikers as we can if we've got them right in the stable, and we do. And so, hey, let's go to work. And so we tend to do that quite a bit.
Speaking of going to work, how do you keep your team focused during this stretch run in the season?
You know, it is difficult. One of the things we're going to introduce is, well, we go from playing 3 games a week, 3 or 4 games. I mean, it was unbelievable our schedule, and it's a schedule that we embraced because um, you've got to chase the best. You've got to go out and you've got to put in the work early on and prove yourself. And you know what? Part of that was the bus rides. Part of that is playing on different surfaces, right? And so at this point, one of the things we're doing is once a week we will go inter squad, and it'll be intense. And so hopefully, they and it's no nonsense. When we go inter squad, it's very competitive, and they push each other to become better. And so that's, I think, the recipe that we've really put into play.
And lastly, how do you size up this team's chances of winning it all this year?
Oh my goodness, it could be special. We feel real good about where we're sitting right now. We still have some work to do. We still have some work to do, right? And depending on who comes, if we're still deserving when the seeding comes out, we're still deserving of a number 1 seed. you know, we'll see who we draw out, and then the work starts, right? Making sure, hey, did we break them down correctly? How can we expose someone? How can we put our game plan into play and make sure that it works out for us? But we feel good about it right now.